cameras.
We are. Did we go? I hope we
Yeah,
did it.
So
okay, awesome.
We're live here, and you've got people joining you already.
We do.
And we're live on. So I don't know what one that one is. And you're live on your second account.
I'll do this.
I'm Melissa, by the way.
Sorry, guys. Yes. So we got to do some introductions, don't we?
Yes.
We've got the lovely Melissa West.
Yeah.
And we are in Victoria, BC, because
Yes.
this is where Melissa lives.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to be here on all these platforms. So we're on Kelly Child's Instagram. We're on, is Melissa live right now?
She's live. Say hi to Stephanie down at the morning.
Oh, hi, Stephanie.
And you asked her.
I asked Stephanie to be here.
Amazing.
My two best friends in the whole world, Kelly and Stephanie. And so we're going to be talking about relationships today and friendships. And I said Stephanie has to be here because the two, Stephanie and Kelly, are, a big part. Kelly, I've lost for words, but we have a very special relationship. We've known each other for just over a decade now, and an incredibly karmic relationship. We're going to be talking about the ups and downs of relationships. People think that when you have a very special friendship, I think people think that it's going to be all peaches and cream, rainbows and unicorns, and
it's not.
Yeah. We're going to talk. I said to Kelly when she was coming here, I said, what do you think about talking about the truth about relationships? And I said, what do you think about talking about how it's really been in our friendship over the years? Because we've had amazing moments, amazing love, and we've been
soul
through connections, and just amazing. And we've had our troubles too.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, and how it sort of is, I guess it's reflective in all of our relationships too.
That's
so
right.
These are the things that we've learned from, and I think that when you have these incredible karmic relationships that you're safe in,
yes,
to grow with,
yes,
these are the ones that you actually really get to dig down deep and tap into your true authenticity.
So I had a quote that was the jumping off point. Right?
Okay, you're right.
Yeah,
on. You did.
This was, and I said this was the. Can you? Yeah, let us know in the comments if you can hear. Okay, and
we'll look for people joining and stuff.
Yes.
And there's a bunch of people on Instagram. I'm just going to look at that, and we're good. So if we see any questions, maybe
let us know.
Timmy can.
Yeah. I've taken my glasses off, so I'm going to rely on other people telling me
if there's any questions coming.
So this quote was our jumping off point. This was the quote that I sent to Kelly, and I said, what do you think about using this as the jumping off point for our live stream?
Yes.
And you said, oh, I'm all over that.
Okay, so let's hear it.
This is from Susan Piver, and she says, the thing that no one tells you is that it's impossible to stabilize a relationship. Yes, I really mean that, impossible. The emotional exchange between two people, and like Kelly was saying, two people, it could be a friendship, it can be your intimate relationship, it can be a work relationship, and I know you want to talk about that today.
And it could be a child.
Yes, parenting relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The emotional exchange between two people shifts like grains in a sand in the desert. Some days you can see forever, and those are those moments where it's just like pure bliss and you have that wonderful connection. And some days you have to take cover because something kicked up out of nowhere and now shit is flying all over the place.
That's how we called it. We were talking today about shitstorms. So
yeah.
Relational shitstorms.
Yes. So, I think, I was like, isn't that a great idea for a live stream? And then last night I'm like, oh my God.
We're going to open up Pandora's box. So.
Are we really going to talk about this live in front of everybody?
I think really it's something that we all struggle with.
Yeah.
And there isn't anybody that I know in my life that has not had ups and downs in relationships, be it if it's with their children, with their spouse, with their best friends, and you sort of fall in love and fall out of love, right? And fall in and out of like and in and out of communications on so many levels. And that was like, we're all good.
We're getting hearts.
Oh, are we? We're getting hearts. So, and what I find is that the more open I am, really, to exploring with who I am, like carving open the chest, I say it, and you just let the beam of light like shine in so deep, and really dig in deep to who I am, and realizing that when I do want to, I'm going to say even possibly blame someone for my suffering.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That is when I've got to put the mirror on myself.
Yeah.
Because it's the story that I am telling myself about that person, and that's the work that I got to do on myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been really working hard on. And this lovely girl who is, I'm going to say, just been this beautiful, steadfast, incredible friend that I'm just so proud of. And today also, like, hey guys, have we not done a shout out to Melissa yet for her 400th episode? LOL. Like, here we are. This is why we're here, right? For the pre-show, for this epic girl, right? And I'm so proud of her. And I'm so proud of her on so many levels. And as much as, you know, you've said always that I've sort of like, you know, guide you around, because I'm like the big sister, right? Like there's 10 years between us. But I never perceived Melissa that way to me. Melissa has always been to me my equal, and sometimes even my older sister.
Oh, wow.
And because of this knowledge and this, she's just this beacon of discipline, and
that's true.
That's very true. So disciplined, and I actually don't really know anyone that is so disciplined as Melissa, for what you've carved out for yourself. You've carved this niche out for yourself, and you've carved this way of communicating with your fans and your beautiful people that love you so much, and they so respect you for who you are and what you represent to them. So I'm quite honored to be in your light.
Thank you. So, speaking of communicating, let's put a question out to
Sure. Let's
Sam.
do some questions and whatever, guys. So.
Yeah. So we'll go back to maybe when we first met, but
yes.
Maybe let's go back to ask people what their memories are of their first BFFs, like their best memories of their first BFFs when they were children.
Right.
Can you remember, like, maybe one of your first childhood memories with your...
Totally.
Yeah.
And it was I'm going to say public school, so it was definitely like kindergarten, grade 1, and it was Mary Brody. Mary, you happen to be watching. And you know, I ended up having, though, other, kind of, it's like other best friends, though, and there's always like these trios or quadruples, whatever you want to call that, foursomes, that were like in and out of kindness, though. There was, you know...
Oh, that's funny. I was going to bring up a story
There's this
like
jockeying of... Yeah. BFFs, but then someone would fight for this person to be their BFF, and then there was this ownership and this insecurity of like, am I good enough? Am I loved enough? And whatever. And I found that a lot. I found a lot of that kind of stuff happening in relational stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
A lot of pain, actually.
Yeah. So that was going to be one of my stories around, like, remembering if we were to remember a memory of a fight with a BFF when we were little. And it was like same, it was a trio.
Right.
And I remember, like, this was actually physically violent.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it was physically violent, where one of my girlfriends took the head of one of the girls and banged it against the wall.
Oh my goodness, that's awful.
It was awful. It was traumatizing, actually. And so that was my friend Jolie. And from that moment, there was something in me that stood up and said, this is wrong. You know, this is obviously, right? This is really wrong. And I stood up and I defended her, and then we were friends ever, you know, then that sealed our bond, you know.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, I mean, as kids, right, we grow up and we only know what we know from our parents, from our nurturing environment, right, and how to find our way through growing up and getting through adolescence and the teen years and stuff, and you're not really taught that stuff in school.
No, we definitely weren't.
No.
I mean, these days now, depending on the school, there's a lot more teaching about how to care for each other.
Anti-bullying and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we go fast forward now to where we are in our present day and actually finding best friends. And for myself, I tend to be a loner quite often in life, and I think it's almost a characteristic of being an entrepreneur that takes on a lot.
I think it's part of our culture too.
And maybe part of our culture too, because we're so dialed in though, like to this stuff and this stuff and this stuff. Like we're dialed in all the time, and sometimes, you know, we just want that peace.
I think it's also part of our culture in that we, you know, I can do it myself. That we actually don't. We want to be so in control that it's actually very vulnerable to connect with another person.
Totally. And why do we want to stay in control?
Like, it's exactly what you're talking about. When things weren't going my way, when you were going through a difficult time in your life, and I felt I wasn't getting enough attention from you, then, you know, my automatic reaction was to retreat.
Right.
And that hurt you too.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Because, and sorry guys, we're continuing again now.
So we were talking about how we all have our ways of controlling our image, right? So it comes from my own core rooting.
Being abandoned, perhaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so really needing me to be more of that nurturing friend, and I was really just trying to save my own life.
Right.
And literally drowning on all levels. And you know, the businesses were kind of exploding in different directions, and they were requiring me in so many ways, and then just that other stuff happening with Ken and his ex and everything. It was just, it was beyond comprehension. And then you had moved out here 3 years ago too, so it really was, it was just so hard to, like I didn't reach out to anybody, you know, and that's when that was.
It wasn't personal.
Right, and that was my way of feeling was, totally. It was not personal.
So you know what happened, right?
What happened? What happened? Tell me what happened.
So what ended up happening was I had retreated not just from that relationship, but from another relationship where I felt I wasn't being respected, which is why Stephanie is here today too. We're down line too. Okay.
Are you both on?
No.
Oh. We're on this one now.
So so my friend Stephanie had she had reconnected with me. She said, "Can we reconnect? I really miss you." And I said, well, I don't know. I don't really know if I can trust you, because she broke my trust. She had broke my trust a few times. And she had gone to see a psychic, and a psychic had said, you really need to reconnect with her because there's a real longing there. So she had connected with me. And then the same week that she connected with me, and I had been missing her so much, and I had been missing you so much, then you sent me your book.
Oh my goodness.
The same, like within days.
Oh my
2
goodness.
days.
So that was April 5th, 2016.
Yeah.
So Melissa's going to read what I wrote in the book to her.
And so I received this, and I mean, you can't even imagine when I read this. I mean, I expected to receive your book. But when I read this, it said, "Dear Melissa, you will forever be in my heart. Even though we're miles away from each other, I think of you every day." And she said, this is the part that just she said, "I'm sorry to have ever hurt you." And then I reached out to you. Yeah. Do you remember what I said?
No.
I think I just
Don't put me on the spot, man. Oh,
I think I just owned everything. I think I just said,
you did.
know,
there was tears, and yes, and you blubbered.
Yeah, I think I just said, sorry for, I'll just be there for you the way you need me to be there, and I won't ask you to be something. I think it was something like that, you know?
It was, you know, when you lay down the shields and the protective coatings and coverings we have around ourselves, right? And that's when the real love comes in. And to apologize and be courageous enough to let yourself go through those wounds is something so awe-inspiring to end up then developing these really close, loving, nurturing relationships that are so friggin' real.
Yeah, it was super vulnerable.
Very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable. And then from there, like, I know that I grew as a human being that moment. I remember the conversation. I don't remember exactly what you said.
Yeah, I don't really remember what I exactly said.
And
but
I
I opened and I laid down I think I let go of expectation.
Totally.
Yeah, just totally let go of expectation. Laid down whatever arms and just, yeah.
Any perception that you had of that story that you'd been telling yourself, right? Because the story was false.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we get to move forward into this, beautiful light. And I think that it affects us, though, in all of our other relationships too. Even, how you are with Trinity or Tim, and, how I am with Ken and Erinn. Like, I feel myself when I work on myself in these relationships. These are our Buddha makers, right? This is the line that Ken's always said, is like, these people that come into our lives for a reason, that encourage us to grow as individuals.
Because our relationship, like ones that I have with Tim and with Trinity, but our relationship is, it is a relationship of wholeness. Like I said, you guys have no idea how often Kelly shows up in my meditation. It's kind of weird. But the other day I was saying to Kelly, like, her presence shows up very strongly in my meditation sometimes. And when it does, it's always the wholeness. It's not always just bliss, but it's the bliss, it's the love, it's the forgiveness, it's the hurt, it's the wholeness, it's the whole picture.
Wow.
Yeah. It's all of it, right?
It's amazing.
The full catastrophe, the fire of life. Right. Yeah.
It's so amazing. And to have that gift, between two people is something so sacred.
Yeah, it's a really special connection.
And I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Connections, I think they are very vulnerable, and they are very, we overlook them. We think that, we're celebrating episode 400 today, and I've been reflecting on this a lot lately, because it's all about the climb, right? Even numbering the episodes, right? Oh, here we are at 400, or how many subscribers do we have, and how much money are we making? It's like our culture is very much oriented towards that, and yet connection is everything. This is what loneliness. There's studies that have been done now that show that loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
How toxic it is.
How toxic it is. But, if you have a friend that you see most days, it's equivalent to earning $100,000 more a year.
For how much joy.
For how much that brings you.
Right.
Right.
So the equivalent to that. So isn't that really remarkable to be able to put almost a price tag on that kind of value of a friendship? And how, and this is something too that I think I talked to you about, a bit about, was with our society now, of how we are so cultured with these instant gratifications of social media, like we're doing with you guys too right now, and how we are so dialed into, how many likes you got, and every time you're posting, and do you like me? Do you like me? And we have this case of, and we're dealing with it in our business right now at Kelly's Bake Shop, because a lot of our staff that come to want to work for us are millennials, and they've been raised in a generation that we were not. And I actually feel sorry for them in many ways, because they weren't raised with getting on their bicycles and riding to Johnny's house and knocking on the door and saying, can you come out and play, Johnny? No, you're actually texting Johnny. But while you're texting Johnny, you're texting little Mikey and little Bobby and little Sally Ann too. And you're, are you getting back to me? And there's this instant gratification people are wanting to have all the time. And their friends end up being the iPhones. The digital things, and And these group of kids, I call them kids, but they're not really kids, millennials, they're searching for a really deep, fulfilling relationship. And that's what they're missing nowadays. And this is why I love this conversation today, because I was hoping that we could end up, going further on it down the road. I know I want to write about it, is how can we help share with society now today? How can we help share the importance of having these real connections, like living, breathing, hand-holding relationships that there's just, it's vacant living now. The kids don't have these connections anymore, and my heart breaks for what they're missing out on. And I think if there's a way that, we're leaders, we are leaders in this culture, and they do look up to these 40 and 50-year-olds, because there's a part of them that are really envious of what we have and what kind of childhood we had, what it was like growing up for us. So that's sort of a goal for me, is to start to be able to show people how to get back to what's really real, and how to start doing this real, true, authentic living. And the authentic living too gets spilled into with your husbands and wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and your children. And I think that it's just time that we just start right down to ground zero again. Just start with the basics. And if we can sort of somehow, having chats like this live, right, is so important to hear how we've maneuvered through our relationship.
Yeah, because I think that the thing with social, because I have a daughter that's 15, and you have, how old's Erinn now?
27.
27. So Erinn's in the millennial. I don't know that Trinity falls in the millennial.
Millennials were 1994.
Right. So
Erinn's a generation something else.
Oh, okay. So, and I think Trinity's under it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Trinity's probably even in more of a voided.
Well, so I don't know.
But you guys have raised her differently, and I'm going to give you tons of credit for that. You guys have done an amazing job.
And yet, no, but she's still in the culture of it, and we see it. She has a BFF, and should I tell the bedspread story?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Trinity, I hope you're not going to watch this.
She won't watch it. Don't worry. She doesn't listen to her mom as much as Erinn probably didn't listen to you when she was 15.
No.
Anyway, so she has a very, I think it's not that they don't have best friends, because they do. Of course, everybody has best friends, right? It's that the culture that they live in is, they've got this technology on hand, and that at any moment they could be dropped for something better. That is always a possibility, and there's a lot of hurt that happens when that happens, and I see that.
Very insecure.
Yeah, there's a lot of insecurity that comes from that. So, one thing that we really we're trying to instill in Trinity right now is just, and she does a very good job of it. I mean, she's wonderful at relationships. It's just how important relationships are. So just this week, her best friend was over, and they made coffee, and they love coffee, right?
At 15.
At 15, yes. And they took it into their bedroom, and they have a really nice white duvet. And Trinity is so specific, do not eat on her duvet, but her girlfriend took it onto her duvet and spilled it on there. Well, you would have thought the sky was falling, and she was so mad at her friend.
She actually got mad?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Really, really angry. So
cool.
So the thing is, on social, right? Even us, right? If we show pictures of us, we're not showing pictures of us fighting.
No, it's all perfect.
It's all perfect. Right. And today, even for us to share that we've been through hard times, that was, I feel, phew, thank God that part's over, right?
Now we got that out of the way.
Yeah, that's really hard to do. So I think for them, I'm not sure my trajectory of this. Anyway, she was losing it, and the point is that I think
maybe it was the realness of the relationship, that
it's
she was
the
actually
realness,
able to be open and honest with
well,
her.
yes, except for that, you know, also the other point is that we really had to instill in her that relationships are going to go through ups and downs, but this friendship is far more important
than a
duvet.
Right.
Right.
So
there's
both
of them. Right. Exactly. Right.
Take
so
it
like
dry
take it down.
Take it.
This needs to be taken down a notch, and you need to realize that, you know, how, you know, and I think the other side of that coin is that, you know, also across social media, we're always being shown perfect homes and perfect bedrooms.
Totally
right?
Totally.
So,
well, it's, yeah, and that's very competitive, right? And so I think that's what the society is all about too, is that, you know, I got a niece and nephew, and like they want nothing but the best iPhones and the best this and the best that, and it's keeping up with the Joneses, and I think that is, you know, again, it's part of the society. I can't say it's wrong because it's just the way that kids are trying to keep up, but they've got their identity so wrapped up.
That's it. In
social media, their identity.
We lose the focus on what is actually important.
Absolutely.
And it is at the end of the day all about the relationships we have, and there is so much scientific research now that shows that it is all about connections. You know, if you do not have strong relationships, you're way more likely to develop Alzheimer's in your old age too.
Right.
There's so many things, you know, like there's
Yeah.
so many things. You want to focus on your health, you know, like we could have made a green smoothie today, but this is actually way more important.
This is more anti-aging.
It is. I mean, you laugh, but it is. And sometimes it's hard.
We've got some people on Instagram. Christina Carpio. I haven't seen you, Christina. I'm going to say hi to you. Shout out. And she says, loves this topic. And she finally gets to see me. So nice seeing you, Christina.
Yeah.
Is there more questions? No.
Are there any coming up in here?
So people aren't wearing their glasses, so they can't read us the questions right now. It's okay. And so I wanted to actually talk then a little bit more about this group of, I'm going to say the 25-year-olds and younger, be it if they're the millennials or the Generation Xers or Ysers and all this stuff, because I'm really confused with the age groups of where everybody fits.
Yeah.
And this is the generation that's really going to be in charge in, say, 20 years, right? They're going to be of that age where they're going to be running the countries, right? The corporations, they're going to be the politicians, they're going to be all those kind of leaders. And I think that it's our duty to be able to show them a different way of engaging and interacting and being all they can be. So, like, with Kelly's Bake Shop, because I said that we have a lot of our staff that are of that age group, I'm really recognizing the need to sit with each and every one of them.
Yes.
And asking them, why do you want to work for Kelly's Bake Shop?
Yeah.
And I hear that, why they want to be with cupcakes or like-minded people or work with a bunch of great girls or something like that, and boys. But then I ask them again because I really want to know what they really need from me. Mm-hmm. And I think that what's turned out to be the general consensus by asking this question more often than not is what they really need are the tools for deep, fulfilling relationships. Mm-hmm. So we try to do that now with the business, and we've got like a book club and social events and things that don't include anything to do with social media or anything like that. It's just to do with true, loving, deep relationships and making them know that they're safe, that they can be trusted, that they can trust us to look after them, and because their lives are so full of insecurity. But I like what you said. Why?
Like what I'm finding too, because I run a community, and that community has about 700 people in it, and we meet, but it is so difficult for people to show up to me. And right now I'm finding it works so well to just say, hey, let's meet just you and I.
Right.
Just like you're doing.
Right.
Like, because that's where we're at right now.
Exactly.
You know? And
it's one at a
taking
time.
one-on-one. And this morning I had 2 one-on-ones. Right?
Amazing.
Like, just, and I offer it out to every single person that comes into my community. One-on-one. Let's sit down one-on-one. Where are you at? Where are you at on your journey? What do you need? And same thing, just asking them what's happening in your body, what does it feel like your body needs? And one-on-one, you know, we sit, we go into meditation together, okay, what's happening? And feeling that out for them and seeing what's best for them as an individual, and then bringing them into the fold, because it has to be done slowly.
Absolutely.
And building those trusting relationships, right?
You're kind of then, you know, you're holding that space for them,
right? Yeah.
And helping them to shine a light on themselves.
Yeah.
In those dark places that sometimes they don't want to face too. You know, what's the age group that the people that you do that with? Like, would you have like an age group that are your people that you kind of
so they're older than your staff. Yeah. So they're
ready.
Yeah, 30, and then they go up to, I would say, 65.
It's amazing how diverse really our culture is, and I don't think that we realize it. So, you know, when you're an expert and you're dealing with so many people that are over, like say, the 35 and older, and you know, I'm my age, so I mean, I can relate to people my age very easily. I'm having a very difficult time relating to the really younger ones that are so disconnected, and because I mean, I'm the same person. I pour my heart out and wear my heart on my sleeve. I am what I am, and sometimes I disappoint people, and I mean, you can't please everybody, and I struggle a lot with that about you know, when all of a sudden, you know, one of our staff, and I've loved them so dearly, and you know, we all of a sudden get notice from them that they're leaving, that they've resigned for some reason, and like they're 22 or 23, and then my heart breaks because I'm like, you have no idea how good you have it here, you know. It's like, you know, we love you so much, and then they're going off. It's like one of my kids, you know, going off to somewhere else, and I can't protect them anymore, and I feel I failed.
Yeah, but you haven't. I know.
It's okay.
Yeah, people come and people go.
Totally.
And we pour. I can relate to what you're saying, because we pour everything we have. I do it too.
Right.
Yeah. And we pour everything we have into what we're doing and into people, and you know, people will come. There's that saying, right? People will come into your life for a reason, a season, and they'll move on, and sometimes they'll come back.
Totally.
You know, if it's right, they'll come back. Yeah.
I agree with you. Again, that's lessons for us not to own that, right? And we have to say it's their journey, and it's set them free, and because they're doing their thing, right?
Each person has their own path and their own trajectory, and who are we to say that they're supposed to be under our wing the whole time?
Right? Absolutely. We had to cut those little strings.
That's right.
But anyways, I just, for me, that's stuff that I'm working on right now. For me, it's so important to
it's hard
tap into that generation.
Yeah.
So I'm gunning for you guys.
Yeah. I have a poem. Do you want to finish with a poem?
Let's finish with a poem. So we're going to kind of wind this down, guys. And there's little Erinn.
Hi, Erinn.
And Courtney. So let's do a poem, and we're going to kind of wind this down, I think, right? Because Melissa has to go off to do her show, okay, guys? So you're going to be tuning in to Melissa's Living Her Yoga.
No.
Where's she going? You say where?
My YouTube channel.
YouTube channel. Are you going live on YouTube?
YouTube, yeah. I'm going live on YouTube.
See, I haven't done that yet. I'm so excited to watch this.
So youtube.com/Dr. Melissa West. That's where you can see me at 4 o'clock Pacific, so that's 7 Eastern. And we're going to do a whole class on connection. And what I've learned is that, first, when we really connect with our bodies, we think we're these solid containers, right? We're separate from each other. But what happens is that the more that we connect with and tune into our bodies and feel and sense our bodies, we realize that our bodies are not these separate containers. They're actually way more porous than we realize. and then your BFF Kelly shows up in your meditations. No, I'm not kidding, that happens, but you realize that you are actually connected with other people, and we're all interconnected. And then that's how that connection really starts to happen in a quite natural way, and in a way that happens at the speed and timing that is right for you and your own body. And so that's what we're talking about today, connection, and that's why this is kind of like the preamble for it.
It's awesome. And also, if you think about it, we're this little itty bitty speck, right? On this beautiful, beautiful planet that doesn't get revered and loved as much as I so would love to have it loved. And then we're this part of this, galaxy to the friggin' other, how many other millions of galaxies are there to this universe, and here we are worrying about, we talked about this the other day, I'm pointing to Ken right now, like, oh, you're worrying about having a speck of dirt on your pants? Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Big problems. First world problems, right? It's just like a blip.
Our time here is a blip on the radar, right? Yeah. And that is both gives us perspective, and also it's like the preciousness of our lives too. We can wake up each day and say, wow, another day that I get to connect with this beautiful earth and these beautiful people in my life.
Absolutely amazing.
What an amazing...
To live in gratitude.
Yeah.
I do have one question here.
Yeah, let's see this question.
And Erinn is calling us babes, just so you know. So, babes first. Christina's asking, how do you keep your friendship with Erinn, and your advice for parents to achieve the same relationship with a daughter or son or whatever. So, and I'm sure Melissa can speak of that too, because our girls are 12 years apart. Trinity's 15 and Erin's 27. And
you're so good at math. You're so good with numbers. Boom, boom, boom. Numbers, they're just like that for her.
Yeah. I'm funny that way. So, people ask me that a lot, because I'm very grateful to have, Erinn has been my sidekick, my partner in crime for now about 7.5 years in business, and it's an anomaly. A lot of people don't really accomplish that. They're not able to achieve that, and I think that one of the first things I always tell people is that I've never really looked at Erinn as my daughter, and I say that in a kind way, is that I look at her with such awe of just being this incredible human being, and I have such incredible respect for her that I separate myself from that ego, like, oh, she's my daughter. I've never ever looked at Erinn that way, with this bragging rights of being this mom about her. I just look at her as just this very cool human who just digs life and gets it, and she's so grounded and so connected to so much, and she just makes my jaw drop with how she handles business and people and her relationship with Michael. And they've been together for, I think, 11 years now or something, and they've had their shit storms, but they figured it out, and they're together and better than ever. And she's just so beyond her years, and I just don't ever think of her as my kid. And I've set her free in so many ways, and that I've never forced her with any decisions of mine. I've always encouraged her to make up her own decisions in life, put it towards her, and then, what do you think? And then before you know it, she makes decisions for me now. So she's like so blasted past me, and I respect her, not just her brain, but her whole presence on this planet. Just throw myself on the sword for her like that. So that's all I can say, is that I don't know how else I can explain that relationship besides, and I think that you do something very cool with Trinity too, that you've allowed her to be her own human being on so many levels.
For me, the times when our relationship has felt the strongest is when it's the same as when it's been the strongest for us, is when I've let go of all agendas, let go of all expectations. And it's like being in meditation with my daughter. So I show up and I'm completely present for her and what's happening for her. And when I do that, and it's not like I do that you know, in every moment. You know, we all have our own things going on. But when I'm able to do that, when I see that she's really suffering and she needs me to show up for her in that way, inevitably she opens in just the most beautiful way. And she's grateful for it. You know?
Amazing.
She's grateful for it.
Because she comes out the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's all that anybody wants, is to be witnessed.
Absolutely.
To have, you know.
Yeah.
Unless they don't, and then you stick and you respect that too.
Well, this has been so amazing. I know we can't talk long because little Missy here has to go to her big show.
We have a poem first, though.
And we're going to say goodbye because Tim's saying...
That means thank you. We're going to thank you all for coming.
We will. But let Melissa do her.
Yes, I have a poem. Because to me, this is when I was thinking about this live stream, I think you know how much I love poetry. People know how much I love poetry, and I'm always like, oh, this poem. When I was thinking about this live stream, I read this, and then it was like, yes, this is what friendship means to me. To me, friendship is, you know, feeling safe, being seen, and yeah, feeling, I really need to feel safe and be seen in a friendship. So this is by Nahira Mahid, and she says, some people, when they hear your story, contract. Others, upon hearing your story, expand. And this is how you know.
Amazing.
Right? That's how you know.
It's fantastic.
So look for the ones that expand in your presence. They're the ones. So thank you so much, everybody. You guys
everywhere.
We'll post a photo of this setup because it's pretty awesome.
It is very awesome.
Thank you for being here.
We even have an iPad over there filming us, Lord. Yeah, thank you so much to all of you, you.
And thanks to Tim and Ken, because we really appreciate your support. You know, they're behind the scenes, and without them, it would not be possible. Yeah. There we go. So cool. And we'll see you at 4 o'clock for those of you who want to come do some yoga.
Join in to Melissa. Again, do you want to repeat, Missy, where you're going to be?
youtube.com/Dr. Melissa West.
Amazing. For her 400th episode, guys, okay?
Yeah.
400.
Yeah.
That is, like, amazing.
What's amazing is to have people like you watching. That's what's amazing. So thank you.
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
See you.
We love you all, okay? Bye.
Bye.
Bye.